Department says someone tested positive for tuberculosis at Ragsdale High School. WFMY News 2's Nixon Norman joins us live from the school in Jamestown with more details. Nixon?
Yeah, that's right. According to Guilford County's public health director, both the school and department were made aware of the tuberculosis case last Friday. Now they are working to track down those who may have been exposed. When it comes to tuberculosis, here are 3 things you should know. 1, tuberculosis is quite rare. The U.S. only saw over 8,000 cases just last year. But according to the CDC, there was a spike in cases after the pandemic. 2, vaccination against tuberculosis is also quite rare. It's not widely used in the United States. However, it is often given to babies and small children in other countries where TB is common. And lastly, tuberculosis can be serious. Bacteria usually attacks the lungs, but the bacteria can attack any part of the body, such as the kidney, spine, and brain. Not everyone infected with TB bacteria becomes sick, but if it goes untreated, it can be fatal. Now, Ragsdale High parents, students, and staff were notified, but the department says they are happy and they want to get the information out there about the tuberculosis case, but they say that there is no immediate health risk or risk of exposure as of right now. We did reach out to Guilford County Schools, and they will be releasing a statement here soon. Live in Guilford County, I'm Nixon Norman, WFMY News 2.
Nixon, thank you. As Nixon said, cases are rare. According to the CDC, in 2022, there were 8,300 tuberculosis cases reported in the U.S. 163 of those were in North Carolina. That is up from 7,800 nationally in 2021 and 178 in our state. According to the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, tuberculosis is spread through the air from one person to another. People near someone who has the disease can breathe in the bacteria and become infected. However, the general public is less likely to get infected because of the limited time spent in enclosed spaces.
Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. A break in the case for a fire at a historic former coal weaving mill in Graham. The Alamance County Sheriff's Office says at least one person is facing charges for the fire last month. At the time, fire investigators called the fire suspicious, suggesting someone was inside when the fire started. The sheriff's office is expected to provide an update with other agencies tomorrow about both the mill fire and another blaze at a house in Green Level. It's unclear whether the agency believes these fires are connected or whether anyone else will face charges.
The father and daughter serving time for the 2015 murder of Irish businessman Jason Corbett are getting out of prison this week. The North Carolina Department of Adult Corrections says Tom Martins, the father-in-law of Jason Corbett, is expected to be released tomorrow, while Molly Corbett, Jason's wife, is expected to be released Wednesday. Last month, Corbett and Martins were resentenced after the North Carolina Supreme Court reversed their 2017 second-degree murder convictions and ordered a new trial. They were sentenced to spend between 51 and 74 months behind bars after pleas to voluntary manslaughter, but now they are expected to get out early.
Well, you have to enjoy today while you can with these temperatures in the 60s. I mean, look across the area. For the most part, it's low 60s, except in the higher elevations where now it's starting to get a little bit cooler in the 40s for Jefferson and Boone, 50s in Mount Airy. We do expect for high temperatures over the next couple of days, we see a trend down. So after today's lower 60s, we're going into the mid 50s. Now, you may see a sprinkle tonight in the short term, maybe the next hour or two, but then after that we'll clear out. 56 and only a 20% chance for Tuesday, Wednesday. Much colder though, with 49 for the high on Wednesday and 50 on Thursday. Heading into the weekend, it's all sunshine for Friday, upper 50s, and we're back to those low 60s for Saturday, Sunday.
'Tis the season for giving. Nonprofits across Greensboro are stepping up to the plate, continuing to serve hot meals, packaged food, and other necessities to those in need. But with high costs and inflation, those nonprofits need your help.
In March, there was something called the hunger cliff, meaning that as all of the COVID programs ended, that really supported people who were hungry. All of those programs were kind of slashed. And then at the same time, all of the food prices started to go up, as well as living costs like transportation and heating and things like that. So we've seen a major increase in people who are experiencing hunger.
The United Way of Greater Greensboro says 22% of the people who live in Greensboro live at or below the federal poverty line. The senior director, Carrie Jones-Barrow, says affordable housing was worsened since COVID, and basic needs like food and access to health care continue to rise. She says it comes after a lot of programs funded during COVID went away. While there are a lot of challenges, Barrow says United Way is making progress.
We have a bold goal of 3,000 households to leave poverty by 2030. We have been tracking this data for about not quite even a year, and we're already over 350 households to that goal. So this is hard work. The progress is slow, but we are making a dent.
Now, while it is the holidays, both stress the importance of giving all year long. For more information on how you can help, I've put a full list on our website, WFMYnews2.com.
Well, here's another way you can help in the community. WFMY News 2's Chad Silber kicked off his Silver Bells tour this morning. This week, we'll be visiting several cities across the Piedmont Triad, helping the Salvation Army. And Chad is in High Point at the Hobby Lobby, and he joins us live with that bright smile. Chad, I heard you had a very special guest this morning.
Yeah, I mean, it's the first day of the Silver Bells tour, so we had to start off with a bang, right? Governor Cooper stopped by while he was in Greensboro and came by our first location at the Walmart up on Battleground Avenue in Greensboro. So it was just so cool. He told us a story about how he and his daughters ring the Salvation Army bell every year, and so it is a charity that is close to his heart as well. So it was great to see. We saw so many people come out and say hello out in Greensboro. It's been wonderful. The weather has been beautiful. This is the kettle today. This is what we're doing all week long. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you. We're ringing the bell. We've got a sign this year, and look who else we have here. This is the Salvation Army of High Point, their core band, and these guys are great every single year. We're out here until 8 o'clock. They'll be out here for a while too. We would love to see you at the High Point the Hobby Lobby in High Point. Back to you guys.
Very fun, Chad. Thank you. There are 8 stops left of the Silver Bells tour. Take out your phone and take a picture of this QR code. The link will take you to the Silver Bells schedule so you can see where Chad will be next. He'll be visiting multiple cities over 5 days to raise as much money as he can.
Well, from one tradition to another, it's been a tradition in Winston-Salem for decades. We're talking about Christmas at Ranolda House. It is a must-see for the entire triad. This year, no exception. I spoke with Director Phil Archer about what's happening this year and the history behind it. He says, of course, the decorations are spectacular, but there are some special additions.
Ranolda also has, as of just a couple years ago, been given by the North Carolina Museum of Art a collection of 200 antique German glass ornaments. So they're really beautiful, hand-blown, hand-painted glass ornaments. And there are a lot of traditional things you'd expect, Santa and snowmen, but also some peculiar things like mushrooms and pipes. I don't quite know the significance back in the day, but they really bring an extra sparkle and a little bit of historical interest into the house.
Of course, it's a peek into the history of the house, which, by the way, goes back to 1917. The Reynolds actually moved in just before Christmas, so Christmas at Ranolda has always been special, but it's also about the experiences.
There's a Friday on the 15th where we all gather around in the big reception hall, the biggest room in the central part of the state, and we sing carols together. And on the Christmas tours, there's special music playing. On the Christmas tours, there also are costumed interpreters. So as you make your way with your guide through this 60-room home, you meet the assistant governess, you meet the butler, you meet a school teacher from the Ranolda School in the village.
Wow. So, and those people that are dressed in costume, what they did was they went back through history and saw written interviews with some of the staff about what they do and all that stuff. So they pulled from that, so it's actual words you'll hear from people who did those jobs 100 years ago. And then we were looking, I'm going to show you this, that there was a menu that Phil sent me to show. Look at that, a handwritten menu. And at the top, if you look in the middle on the top, you can see it says like December 25th, 23. Isn't that funny? So it was 100 years ago that they wrote this menu.
That's pretty cool.
That is really cool.
That was their breakfast, which was like caviar and tomatoes. And
Chestnut dressing.
I'm talking, yes, there was chestnut dressing and turkey and sweet potato pie with marshmallows. And like they had at least 10 dishes for every meal.
The glass ornaments were really
Yes.
nice as well too. I love ornaments on a tree, so that is a very nice touch to it as well too.
And the pipe organ in the main lobby, or whatever you call it, the living room, is one of the best preserved from that era, and it still works. So when you go there in certain times, they'll have these little concert, like almost like a symphony, mini symphony concert in the Ronaldo
In
house.
there.
I love how they're bringing that to life.
Yes,
Yeah.
got to check it out. All right, we'll be back.
Hey there, it's your friends from the Good Morning Show, Ben, Lauren, and Megan.
Do you have a little one who's turning 2 years old?
We want to celebrate them on TV with Who's Turning 2 Tuesdays. Text birthday to 336-379-5775 to find out how to submit your birthday boy or girl.
And from all of us on the Good Morning Show, happy birthday!
Well, you got to check this out. With the holidays coming up, savvy shoppers are turning something old into something new. Used clothing sales are expected to exceed $77 billion by 2025, more than double the amount from 4 years ago. Elise Preston has a closer look.
$30 and they're Gucci and they're fabulous and they're yes.
One person's trash is another person's trend.
I found Dior, I found lace, I found vintage Harley boots in my size, vintage Tommy Hilfiger, and of course Juicy Couture.
Thrifting TikTok, or Thrift Talk, boasts billions of views and counting. We tagged along with influencer Macy Elaney.
A really good thrift tip is to practice self-control.
She teaches her nearly 500,000 followers how to buy efficiently at thrift stores, estate sales, and yard sales. Her typical shopping trip is less than $40.
Growing up, I couldn't imagine that I would be able to afford pieces like that I looked through fashion magazines lusting over. And then I started going to the thrift store and realized that, oh my God, these items are here. It's not just a random track and field marathon t-shirt that someone donated years ago.
With some discounts of up to 90% off retail, attitudes about thrifting have changed, with secondhand goods now seen as better for your budget and the environment.
Why do you think there have been so many emerging consumers?
Yeah, I mean, it's really a generational shift in consumption. You know, when you look at the young, they care about the planet, they care about sustainability, they care about making good choices for their futures.
Top fashion designers are also taking note of the trend. More than 120 retailers now resell their clothes. For Macy Elaney, fast fashion will never beat the thrill of the hunt.
Ooh,
She's very excited.
Yeah, she really is.
Very
There's
excited.
so much you can get when you go thrift shopping, and it takes some time, you know, finding the different items and things of that nature. But not too long ago, I went to Freedom Thrift Shop off of Battleground, and hopefully I'm not saying that incorrectly, or House Thrift, that's what it is. And oh my gosh, just so many different things, from things in the kitchen, furniture, clothes, shoes, all of those different things, and came out with a lot of cool stuff.
I love
did.
that. I like the vintage stores, the retro stores.
Yeah.
I'd love to go in there and try to find glassware that's like 70s or 60s.
And that's exactly, there were so
I
many
love
different
that.
things, especially with the holidays as well too, you know.
I know I've gone into, there's a couple of different ones where you can resell your clothes. I've even like resold them instead of just getting rid of them or throwing them away. My favorite moment though, I went to a thrift store and I was getting ready for a Halloween costume, and we give this beautiful dress to this woman. She's like, that's the most beautiful dress, you're gonna look so good in it. I was a zombie, so like I had to cut
You
that
had to
thing
rip
up.
it all up.
And so, and my mom was like,
"You're gonna look so great."
She
And
was
he's
just like, it's like,
Yes, yes,
Here
she
you go.
is.
I was
That's
like,
the
okay.
answer. All right, we're coming right back. Stay there.
$20 bill.
Wow. Hi there, Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California. Chad Silver live outside of the Hobby Lobby in High Point. It is day one of the Silver Bells Tour. We are on stop number 2. We were in Greensboro earlier today. Just heard an incredible total. We just learned that at that stop, we collected $604.92. They say that's a little over $150 per hour, where the current average is $30 per hour. So if you came out to Greensboro, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. We have a lot more coming up tonight, so stay tuned and we'll be right back.
You heard Chad there. It is giving season. And because of this, I asked you all on Facebook to share what you've done this year to give back. John said, all through the year, my coworkers and I have donated food to needy families through a simple gesture. I've also donated some items or money through various News 2 projects. Well, hey, thanks for helping us out too. Linda said she paid it forward at McDonald's quite a few times. Makes you feel so much better. And they are probably so thankful for you. Scott said, given blood, donated food, donated to missions and underprivileged children. Amazing. And then Susan, this one's from my grandma. She said she bought gifts for kids of families who could use a blessing. Love that.
Good for Grandma. That is awesome. We love that. Forecast for us, we like this too. It's kind of getting more season. I don't know about you. So first of all, we went Christmas shopping for our tree shopping, I should say, over the weekend, and it was so warm, it didn't feel like the holidays. Well, get ready. Here we go. A little sprinkle tonight, then clearing skies and 35. 56 tomorrow, mostly sunny and cooler. It's going to be comfortable. There's that sprinkle if you see some of that, but not very, it'll be short-lived, right? After that, we see high pressure taking over. It'll pretty much clear things out for us. Might be a little bit breezy tomorrow when you see the approach of that cold front, and then as all that clears us, we end up with some cooler air moving in. So let's go with partly cloudy on Wednesday and 49. It's 50 and sunny on Thursday. Sunny Friday, we build back to 58, and then some low 60s for your weekend. But Sunday, we could have a rainy, windy day with a 60% chance of rain, but warmer air at 63.
Arguably one of the fastest growing sports in America is taking off. Have you ever played pickleball? Well, it is becoming a major sport. Dania Backus is in California, and she explains why.
It's the fastest growing sport in America. But this week we saw the game of pickleball reach an even greater height. 1,500 feet, that is, on the iconic Goodyear blimp. The one-on-one match also marks a new peak for the aircraft itself, giving aerial coverage over this weekend's Professional Pickleball Association Tour Finals for the very first time. While drones may dazzle, the blimp paved the way.
We basically invented aerial broadcasting of sports.
Riding the blimp was a thrilling adventure.
Goodyear blimps took their first flight almost 100 years ago, keeping a watchful eye from American skies.
The Blimp Patrol, death to submarine.
Over the years, they've been part of the U.S. Navy's defense team in World War II, christened by aviation icons like Amelia Earhart and Sally Ride, and even broadcast emergency signals above natural disasters like Hurricane Andrew in 1992.
The blimp and fly the skyway.
But it was 1955 that marked a new era for the fleet. With the rise of television, Goodyear became the first aerial platform to live broadcast an event for TV. And when the first Super Bowl kicked off in 1967 on CBS,
A super debut for the Super Bowl.
the blimp was there.
We fly over all the largest events.
Taylor Dean has been a Goodyear blimp pilot for 12 years.
Super Bowls, NASCAR World Cups, Stanley Cup, NBA Finals. So if we're there, it's usually a pretty big event.
Now a new game has been added to the roster.
I've driven by the blimp. I've seen it at sporting events.
16-year-old Annalie Waters is the #1 pickleball player in the world.
I've always been like, all right, your sport's kind of made it if the Goodyear blimp comes to it. So I guess pickleball's made it now.
The sport has become a smash hit since the pandemic, with almost 9 million playing across the U.S.
It just kind of exploded. So I was really glad to be a part of it because when I started playing, I was 10 and now I'm 16. So I've kind of grown with the sport.
Pioneers from the court and the sky, elevating the game to blimp-worthy status.
Oh, wow.
So we were just talking about the blimp, not the Goodyear, but the MetLife blimp, which they call Snoopy 1 and Snoopy 2, because Snoopy's on the side of it. I got to go up with that one time when it was doing the Wyndham, back when it was the Greater Greensboro Open, and they let me fly it. And I said, are you sure? And he goes, you can't wreck it, we just float. And so you turn it and those big propellers just rotate and the whole thing moves over.
What was it like?
It was like you're floating. There's no movement. The only thing is that when you rock, like it was a little windy that day,
Turbulence.
and you can see, because you're underneath it, you can see the bottom of the blimp on the horizon going up and down. But other than that, it was not bad.
I feel like I'd be a little scared to try that.
I would be a little bit nervous, but it's cool to see how it has evolved over the years from so many years ago as well, too.
By the way, pickleball is gigantic.
I've heard from friends that there are lines at the pickleball courts right now.
Really?
Yeah, here locally.
There's a shortage of courts, so I hear from people that play all the time. They say we need about 10 more complexes to handle the number of people.
Wow.
That's fun.
Interesting.
We'll take a break. Be right back.
Hey, mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
right there, welcome to the 4 to 5. We have a lot coming up. Sydney, Eric, Hunter, Amanda.
That's right. Yeah, a lot to talk about, and happy Monday to all of you. We got Amanda at the table, so that means we'll talk a little bit about sports, specifically the Panthers.
Yeah, some more tough news for the Carolina Panthers this week. After losing yesterday's game, the team became the first to be officially eliminated from playoff contention. It comes after a close loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Florida. In a rainy matchup, the Panthers lost 21-18. Tampa Bay was able to squeeze out a win behind the play of former Panthers quarterback Baker Mayfield. If it matters at all, Panthers quarterback Bryce Young played a decent game, completing 15 passes out of 31 attempts for 178 yards. He also used his legs to run in 1 touchdown for the Panthers. Down 11 points in the third quarter, the Panthers stormed back to cut the lead to 3, but an interception from Bryce Young pretty much sealed this game.
So I asked you on Facebook since yesterday was a tight game. Do you think the Panthers may, show some hope? Are they edging back? Laura said, every time I hear Greg Olson's commentary on TV, I think he should be coaching. I know a lot of people are thinking about that. Don says, no, they're still a very bad team. They may win 1 or 2, but that doesn't mean that they are edging back. Yeah, but a lot of people were letting it out on this one. Steve said the draft should be interesting. The Bears will have the Panthers' #1 pick. Future not looking good unless Tepper breaks out the checkbook and signs a lot of free agents. Michael Lee says, no, Tampa Bay was just not as bad as we were. And then Robin says, not until they quit passing on 4th and 1. But I feel like they're passing on 4th and 1 because they have nothing to lose at this point. So go for it all.
That's the tough part about this whole season is you're going to have the #1 pick and it's not even yours.
Right. That is sad. But
that's really sad.
Threw the baby out with the bathwater when they got Bryce. I still think, somebody brought this up in the newsroom. Actually, I think it's our producer, Aaron, said, maybe you just sit Bryce for the rest of the season, let him kind of have some teaching moments and learn, not punishing him, and let Dalton take over. He's a seasoned quarterback, maybe not the most flashy in the world, but.
Right. I mean, Frank Reich said that he wasn't going to do that. But actually today, Chris Tabor, the interim head coach, said he's going to do whatever it takes to win the game at this point. Yeah. So maybe we will see Andy in a couple games.
Might be worth it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. All right, let's go to college football now. Controversy is brewing. I know you've heard about this in the NCAA. So imagine for a second playing football for Florida State. You just finished a storybook season, first in your conference, undefeated 13-0, and you assume you'll get a shot at proving that you're the best in the nation. Then you find out you didn't make the championship playoffs. And add insult to injury, 2 of the teams that made it, Alabama and Texas, each lost a game this season. Dana Jacobson looks at the decision that's shaking the foundations of college football.
This right here, touchdown, Florida State.
After a formidable college football weekend, there is both clarity and chaos.
Great blocker, Corum, touchdown Wolverines.
With a commanding Big Ten championship win on Saturday, the Michigan Wolverines captured the playoffs' top spot. But in Tallahassee, the party was quickly over. Even though Florida State capped off an undefeated season Saturday, on Sunday, Texas and Alabama jumped ahead of the Seminoles.
We get left out even when we win.
Marking the first time an unbeaten Power 5 conference champion missed the playoff, which started in 2014.
Heartbroken, devastated.
This was the moment Florida State coach Mike Norvell and his team learned they were out. Norvell later said he was disgusted and infuriated with the decision. CBS Sports' Dennis Dodd.
It's not a credible playoff when you don't have the best teams or the teams that have achieved the most.
The selection committee chairman said quarterback Jordan Travis's season-ending injury was a major factor.
I feel horrible for Coach Norvell, the players, but again, they're a different team now than they were earlier in the year.
This might be Michigan's best team ever. We'll know if they win the championship.
Michigan's season played amid scandal. Head coach Jim Harbaugh was suspended by the Big Ten for 3 games after allegations of sign stealing. Harbaugh denied any knowledge of the alleged scheme, while a former staffer is at the center of the NCAA's investigation. Michigan will take on the Crimson Tide in the Rose Bowl on New Year's Day, while in the Sugar Bowl, the Texas Longhorns will try to hook the Huskies.
Gosh, man, this was the conversation of the weekend, man. I just felt there were so many people on social media just devastated of the outcome for Florida State here to try to make it into the playoffs.
Amanda's a graduate.
Yeah, I don't even want to talk about this anymore because it is really sad. But take me out of it. Take me being a Seminole out of it. It's disappointing for the ACC. You're basically saying that this is not a legit football conference, and that's not correct.
Well, and what I worry about is that this could be the beginning of the end for the ACC, because all it does is it teaches schools like, well, if you're in the ACC, you're not going to get the respect of an SEC Big Ten, and you're making less TV money than the other schools are. So if Florida State were to try to get a lot of people together to leave the ACC, and I think Clemson and Carolina would be in that list, and maybe UVA, then you could see the beginning of the end of the ACC, which is sad. But
you're basically saying that wins don't matter. But at the end of the day, this is all about winning.
Yep.
You have a win or a loss, and it doesn't matter if you beat people by 60 or by 1. A win is a win.
I mean, they blew their season out of the water.
Yes.
I mean, so many good games.
Yeah, we lost our starting
right?
quarterback. You lost Jordan Travis to a broken leg, but we still won.
Yeah, you still won.
They still won. And they still won an ACC championship. It shows you that it's a team sport. It's not just one guy. Yeah, he's the majority of our offense, but let them play for a title.
Any of the players been on social media saying things? And
Yeah,
things like
Jordan
Florida
Travis
State
tweeted. It was so sad. He said, "I'm sorry."
No, not his fault.
How is a quarterback saying, "I'm sorry" because he
I won too many times.
This proves that college football is a business now, and it's not
Yeah,
about
it's
wins.
sad.
They're doing it for ratings.
Okay, let's take it over to high school football. This hopefully is good news. Two Piedmont Triad teams remain in the battle for a state championship for the 7th time in the last 8 years. The Reedsville Rams are back in the title game. The team is seeking its 23rd state championship after rolling over Shelby 49-14. Meanwhile, in Surrey County, Mount Airy High School, yeah, we hear it from you, is also in the title game with a 15-0 record on the season. On Friday, the team knocked off Robinsonville in a competitive 27-16 win. Now, both teams will begin preparing for their respective state title games on Saturday. Mount Airy takes on Tarboro for the 1A championship inside Keenan Memorial Stadium in Chapel Hill at noon. Then at 3, Reedsville will face Clinton in the 2A championship inside Carter Finley Stadium in Raleigh.
And I will be there to cheer on the Granite Bears. We'll see how they do. This is great. All right, look at the temperatures. This is one thing that will change. So we're in the low 60s now. We can say goodbye to that for a while. In fact, there's a chance that our daytime high will end up being in the 40s, possibly by the middle of the week, or at least upper 40s, close to 50. We have a couple of cold days coming up. In the short term, though, just know, and winds really aren't a problem now, but those numbers will be going up tomorrow. We expect it to be windy, mostly sunny, a good bit cooler, right? So 35 tonight with a sprinkle in the short term, then clear skies. Tomorrow sunny and 56. So gradually we just get cooler and cooler, right? And when you look at this, there's a couple sprinkles, but nothing really to write home about. That'll move out pretty quickly. And then we see after this moves through, the low pressure takes it. We have another little disturbance that'll skirt by. The colder air back behind that, that's when the winds start to pick up. So look for that maybe as we head into Tuesday and Wednesday for the winds to get a little bit bigger. But overall, the temperatures drop and you put those winds into effect, it'll feel a lot cooler than even these numbers. 49 on Wednesday, 50 on Thursday, sunny upper 50s for Friday, and your weekend looks a little rainy, especially Sunday, but highs go to the low 60s.
Eric, thank you. Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup now. In Washington, demonstrators gathered outside of the U.S. Supreme Court ahead of the oral arguments in the case against Purdue Pharmaceuticals. The case involves a challenge to the bankruptcy plan for the company, which made OxyContin. In the plan, the family who owns the company would be shielded from civil lawsuits related to the opioid epidemic. The issue the court will be discussing is whether they can be protected from lawsuits related to the opioid epidemic despite not having declared bankruptcy themselves.
With the holidays approaching, many families are trying to watch every dollar. While inflation has been cooling somewhat, that's not true with the grocery store. Food prices are up 3.3% from this time last year, according to the latest government data. Experts recommend using shopping apps that offer rebates to save money, and some say warehouse stores like Costco are good for people who are able to buy in bulk.
A new survey at the Ohio State University finds many people will lose track of their healthy habits over the holidays. 2/3 of those surveyed say they will eat too much, while almost half will exercise less. Health experts suggest sticking to a normal routine as much as possible while giving yourself some grace on certain days.
The Price is Right at night, and Let's Make a Deal primetime return tonight to CBS starting at 8. You can catch the shows full of games with contestants playing for money and 3 luxury cars. Both will air after Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy, followed by NCIS at 10 and WFMY News 2 at 11.
To Paris, where construction of one of the world's most notable places of worship has cleared a major hurdle. A new Notre Dame Cathedral spire is taking shape in the city's skyline. It comes nearly 5 years after a devastating fire destroyed much of the church. Elaine Cobb has more on what's on the horizon.
For the first time in nearly 5 years, the outline of a spire is again visible in the skyline above Notre Dame. Workers on scaffolding high above Paris are installing the new spire's wooden framework on the cathedral roof. It was April 2019 when fire engulfed the cathedral. The world looked on in horror as the spire, made of oak and metal, collapsed in the flames. Teams of architects and artisans have been working tirelessly to rebuild the spire to its original 19th century design. Architect Axel Poncenet has been reproducing the spire's decorative finishings.
It's a very complex structure, and never today we are rebuilding such structures. And what's amazing is that we are really trying to be very specific in the way we rebuilt it.
Workers continue to set the oak framework of the 300-foot spire in place, shaping the outline that's been missing from Paris since the fire.
The framework will be covered in a sheath of metal and the decorative finishings added. The cage of scaffolding will remain in place while that work is completed. Then the spire will rise again over Paris. Work on the rest of the cathedral continues too. The public authority overseeing the reconstruction says it is on track, and the cathedral will be ready to reopen to the public a year from now.
Happening right now, WFMY News 2's Chad Silber is live at the Hobby Lobby in High Point. Look at him grinning with his little bell. He is ringing the bells for Salvation Army. It's part of his Silver Bells tour, where he travels across the Triad in an effort to raise money. All thumbs up there. And he's trying to raise as much money as he can for the organization. You can help make a difference by stopping by to donate. Chad will be out there until 8 p.m., so be sure to stop by for a visit.
Hey, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together like a classic combination. Yep.
this is what we gear up for all year round, right? I mean, this is our Super Bowl. You know, this is what we work. That's why we got this job.
What job is it? The job of getting your packages to you and wherever you need them to go, and making sure that those holiday letters and the cards and the pictures and the bill payments get where they need to go as well. The holiday season is the busiest time of year for the post office.
We expect to process upwards of 1 million packages a day. Right? So to put that into perspective, last year we did about 25 million during our peak season. This year we think we're going to hit about 30 million. We're really excited about it.
They're really excited about it.
Yeah.
I would not change places with anyone at the post office this time of year.
Absolutely not.
Super busy.
Like when somebody's package doesn't arrive either.
I know.
Count me out.
One out of all of those millions, right? Or whatever it is. All right, so the guy that you heard from, he is at the biggest mail processing facility in the entire United States. It's in Los Angeles. There was a maze of bins and conveyor belts. It looks crazy to me.
It does.
One after one after
Yes.
one after one, back to back.
That's, I mean, the amount, just the volume. He said we're, excited is not the word I would choose if I worked there.
I would be like overwhelmed and like, oh my gosh, how are we going to do this? So my dad was a postmaster, not in LA, so smaller, okay? How it all works seems familiar to me, but I got to tell you, it's still amazing to me, like how it actually works. Let me show you what I mean. So you've got the big bins full of packages and cards, and they're dumped out, and then they're sent on a conveyor belt. And then they're sorted by the machines into like smaller bins, which are then taken to different parts of the facility. You see them driving them around, right? The clerks are then going to sort that mail out from those bins that are there and put them into some trays. Okay, so that's what you're looking at here, which would be for the postman's entire route, okay? So they have all these letters and all these packages, but they're not in order yet. So then they do something that's called casing the mail, and you're gonna see this. There's all of these little itty bitty boxes. You see them? Okay, that's your address at your house, and then your neighbor's address, and then your other neighbor's address, and all that kind of stuff. And they're putting it in order of how they walk or drive the route. And then the next thing you know, that letter or package is in your mailbox. How does that work?
That's insane.
There is so much that happens in that process. I don't understand how I can get my package within, or even like anything within a certain amount of time.
Right.
Because I've seen when the mail person comes by our house, I've seen them have rubber bands right around. So that's what they're doing. It's been sorted previously, put in a thing, and then they take it.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And then they go through. Okay, before we wrap this up, let's talk deadlines, because I don't want to be late. Do you want to be late?
Oh, no.
Nobody
It's
wants
the
to be
last
late.
thing.
Okay, so let's look at the mailing deadlines. December 16th, that's your first class mail. These are your Christmas cards, your letters. The most inexpensive way to mail a small package is first class mail. That's December 16th. Now, priority mail, usually this is delivered in 1 to 3 business days. This price includes tracking your package as well, which I think is key. These are for packages all the way up to 70 pounds. So you can mail most of your Christmas packages this way. The deadline is December 18th. The longer you wait, my friends, the more it costs. Priority Mail Express starts at $28.75. You do not want to pay that, right? That deadline is December 20th. Get your stuff in the mail.
When I moved from Fayetteville, I watched it because I was born during the time of all the.
WFMY News 2's partnership with Salvation Army Silver Bells kicked off today, all day.
Chad's little movement there.
It makes me laugh every time I see
Cracks
it.
me up.
Well, all day our very own Chad Silver has been out in Guilford County ringing those bells and collecting donations.
Yeah, his first stop was in Greensboro at the Walmart on Battleground. Right now, though, he's in High Point at the Hobby Lobby on North Main Street. How's it going, Chad?
Hey guys, you know that little caricature that you were talking about? Yeah, I love that little guy too. Isn't he fun? Anyway, yes, we're at the Hobby Lobby in High Point. Get this, I just had a woman come up. She told me that her husband recently passed away. She wanted to donate to the kettle in his honor, and so she gave me a $200 check. Incredible, you know, to hear some of the reasons that people come out to donate, and we've heard a lot of them, even on just day one. This is just day one of the Silver Bells Tour, and we already, you know, we got the star power out here today. This is the Salvation Army Band from High Point, and they're taking a quick break right now, but we're going to be hearing from them quite a bit over the next couple of hours. I'm out here until 8 o'clock. I hope to see you. We're looking to beat what we just raised in Greensboro. We just found out we raised more than $600 today, so that's our goal to beat here in High Point. Please help us do that.
Well, as Chad mentioned, he will be out there until 8 tonight, but this was just day one of his tour. There are 8 stops left. Now, I want you to grab your phone really quick and take a picture of this QR code. The link will take you to the Silver Bells schedule so you can see where Chad will be next and help him raise money. He will be visiting 8 cities over 5 days to raise as much money as he possibly can.
Let's talk about this weather. We have a chance of a sprinkle here or there, actually seeing that right now on the radar. Again, it's very light. Most of this just a light sprinkle or maybe a very light shower, and it's down toward Davie County and into Lexington area as well. Here's your 7-day forecast. The rain will get out of here pretty quickly, and then 35 for the low tonight, 56 tomorrow, and partly cloudy skies. Look at the cold air though, 49 and 50 for Wednesday, Thursday. This weekend, we could see some heavier rains on Sunday, but at least temperatures are back to the low 60s.
Right now, Guilford. Hey, 123 Nixon Norman. We're talking about Guilford County Public Health Department and Guilford County School.
Did someone ask for a mic check? I'm sorry if you did. I couldn't hear. Hi, Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado.
Ten 9-876-54321, 10-9-876-54321.
Hi, Brett, 123, 123 45 6 7 8 9 10. Culp, 123.
It also wanted a little over $3 million to go back into its savings account to pay for projects and improvements, things like security cameras.
A wise person once said, grandparents are voices of the past and the door to the future. I spent this Thanksgiving at my grandparents' home in Rain, South Carolina. While there, my sister and I showed my 92-year-old grandfather pictures in our smartphones of our past travels. He said, "Those phones sure do take great photographs. I'd love for you to take some pictures of me in my garden." Since I can remember, my grandfather would spend hours on his acres of land, tending to his butter beans, watermelons, collards, and turnips. You name it, he grew it. But now that he's older, he can't tend to his crops like he used to. Instead of just taking pictures, I decided to do a video and interview my grandfather.
But this year I'm unable to help them, but look and see what they did themselves. And I'm proud of this.
He says looking back at his field, it helps him to see how far he's come, and that this was the first garden his sons had grown by themselves without his help. He says he always spoke to his children about the importance of raising the food that you eat. My sister and I stood in admiration as my grandfather continued to talk to us about what it means to work hard and never give up. I'm blessed to still have my grandparents. If it's been a while since you've talked to yours, pay them a visit or give them a call. You don't want to miss out on all the wisdom you can learn from them. That's my 2 cents. I'll see you on the Good Morning Show tomorrow. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.
Breaking news right now on WFMY News 2 at 5 o'clock. The Guilford County School District says somebody at a school contracted a case of tuberculosis. That is a serious disease that spreads by air.
That's right. County health officials say they found 1 case of TB at Ragsdale High School in Jamestown. WFMY News 2's Nixon Norman is at Ragsdale with the latest. Nixon.
That's right.